bringing together nearly 300 state and national arts professionals, community leaders, and advocates for network, learn, and celebrate the arts in Iowa. This is an important event for both our state because it not only does it celebrate the creativity of Iowans, but also it recognizes the value of creative expression to the vitality of Iowa communities. Our state is home to artists who are creative entrepreneurs and are honing their talents and building their careers right here in Iowa. Our nonprofit arts and cultural organizations are cornerstones of our communities, helping educate Iowans of all ages by providing access to valuable learning experiences. Our communities are planning for their futures by incorporating arts into their local vision plans to create a sense of place and to contribute to Iowa's creative identity. For all of these reasons and more, Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds and I are proud of Iowa's creative energy and its impact on our cultural legacy. And we are proud of more than 5,000 arts-related businesses in Iowa that employ more than 20,000 Iowans who are making our quality of life richer by their efforts. I'm excited to attend the Arts Summit this year and to present the Governor's Arts Awards to deserving organizations, businesses, and individuals for their work and support of the arts in our state. I'd like to congratulate Director Mary County and her team for bringing community leaders and arts professionals together this week to share ideas and to learn new strategies to help build on the tremendous success that we're seeing. So I'm going to turn it over to Director County to give you more.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Mary.
Wonderful. Thank you, Governor Branstad. Good morning, everybody. We're really pleased to be here. Big week for us, getting ready, game week, as we said earlier. So very excited for this Friday. 2 years ago, when we launched the Iowa Arts Summit as a statewide convening for Iowa's arts community, the response was overwhelming. So this year, we will build on that success with local, state, and national voices converging on the 2016 Iowa Arts Summit this Friday in Des Moines. Nearly 300 representatives from some 90 Iowa communities will come together for a day of learning, networking, and celebrating the arts. Again, overwhelming response. We heard great feedback from folks that they wanted to see this happen more regularly, if not annually. And we've already seen an increase, nearly 20%. Hopefully that number will keep going up this week in terms of attendance. So we're really pleased to see that the demand is there for this constituency. Some highlights of this year's summit include sessions by representatives of leading national organizations such as Art Place America and Arts Midwest on topics such as creative placemaking, nonprofit fundraising, artist residencies, as well as new research on the public value of the arts and the economic impact that they have across the country. Presentations by innovative communities across Iowa, such as Waterloo, Dubuque, Bondurant, Malvern, and more. Live performances, presentations, and pop-up exhibits by nearly 50 Iowa artists, and a temporary public art installation displayed throughout the Community Choice Credit Union Convention Center of more than 50 sculptures titled The Butterfly Effect, created by Waterloo's youth art team. We're also excited to add a touch of Hollywood to this year's summit in partnership with Produce Iowa, our state office of media production, formerly the Film Office, who is presenting a session track for Iowa filmmakers featuring Sarah Pierce, the managing director of the Sundance Institute, as well as Iowa native and University of Iowa alum Andrew Steele, who is the creative director of the website Funny or Die. And we, of course, look forward to the governor being in attendance to announce and recognize the 2016 Governor's Arts Award recipients. So for those Iowans who haven't yet registered, they can still do so online at iowaculture.gov until Wednesday at noon, or they can register in person starting at 9 a.m. on Friday at the Community Choice Credit Union Convention Center here in Des Moines. That event starts at 9 a.m., as I just mentioned, and will conclude by 4 p.m. So at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the summit, along with Matt Harris, our administrator of the Iowa Arts Council, and a quick thank you to the incredible team who has pulled this off. We have Joseph, Veronica, and Liesel, so they have done a lot of great work to, again, serve our arts community across the state. So thank you all for being here this morning, and I'll answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Questions on this subject first. I'm sure we got some interest in the arts here in the media. You know, we just had the Italian festival over the weekend. I think they had a big cheese event here too in Des Moines, and we got the balloon festival going on in Indianola. So there's always a lot of exciting things going on. Question. My son and daughter-in-law, Eric and Adrienne, went. They said it was great. And I do eat some cheese, but I'm pretty careful about that. I'm getting close to my Army weight, so I'm working real hard to do that. Questions? Well, first of all, I think it's important that we lead by example, participate and encourage people to get involved in these things, and recognize there is some really significant benefit in, so obviously in tight budget times, it's always difficult to get money, but it's not just money. It's getting people personally involved, and it's the private contributions and the involvement of the general public in events like I just mentioned, the Italian festival, and we have a lot of them just about here in Des Moines and also throughout the state. But you've got things going on every weekend. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, I just add quickly 2 points. First of all, what you just pointed out makes it even more important that we're holding an event like this. Not only do you see the demand, but it's really important. It's not a perfect analogy, but just like Director Durham in economic development worked closely with, be it ABI or the Bankers Association, this is our constituency. And frankly, the reality is most of them are nonprofits or artists trying to make it. And it's really important that we want them to be able to stay here and thrive and survive right here in Iowa. So it is important that we're able to provide this sort of educational conference to help them with messaging and help ensure they can properly communicate the impact of the arts. It's not just arts for art's sake. Too often it's the icing on the cake, or it's a want, not a need. But that would lead me to my second point, where when you look at statistics across the country, those who have made a decision, let's say, be it local, state governments, to invest in culture, invest in the arts, they have definitely reaped the benefits of that from a recruitment and retainment standpoint. And I do believe that is why we would be able to continue to attract and retain, be it businesses, when you talk to CEOs across the state, for them to be able to recruit and compete with an Omaha, Minneapolis, even a Chicago, Des Moines, Dubuque, Council Bluffs, you name it, has to be a place where somebody wants to move with their family. And frankly, it's not only the 9 to 5, because if they know they're going to get a job, it's going to be, they look at public schools, they may look at public safety, but they also want to know, what am I going to do? Where am I going to take my kids? What am I going to do with my spouse or partner, whatnot? And so it's really important that we're able to continue to support this constituency. And more importantly, that from an economic development standpoint, businesses do want to stay and locate here, but then we can also recruit and retain the best and the brightest.
Well, just drive through the Papa John Sculpture Park, and it's not just all Pokemon Go either. There's a lot of people there for, I think, really other reasons. But that's one thing I was really proud to point out during the National Governors Association meeting, that is a nice addition right in the middle of our city. And also a lot of the festivals are held, in downtown now. Last year, I purchased from one of the artists this big-hearted oak, which is it's in my office upstairs, and I personally purchased it just because, the oak is the state tree, and I thought it was a beautiful. And this is a former doctor who has given up practicing medicine and does this, and he made it out of copper wire. But so there's a lot of talent out there.
We'll get you some follow-up information on that from.
Yeah, if you're done with this, we'll be glad to talk about other subjects. Yeah,
You told us in Cleveland that Donald Trump needed to be very focused and disciplined.
yeah.
Do you think he exhibited that this weekend in his remarks about the Gold Star candidates?
First of all, I just think that anyone that has died in the service of our country is a hero. And I think that was a mistake. I believe that focus needs to be on the differences that he has with Hillary Clinton in terms of policies. She's part of the longstanding Washington, D.C. establishment. I think people are tired of the elites and the establishment running our country, and they're looking for a new direction. And I think that that's what he needs to focus on. I was with him last Friday in both Davenport and in Cedar Rapids. Huge crowds, tremendous enthusiasm. A lot of Midwestern working people and farmers are tired of being ignored by this administration and feel that Hillary Clinton is more of the same, and we need a new direction in this country that will restore fiscal responsibility, public safety, and create the kind of quality jobs that we want for Americans.
You called it a mistake. Should he apologize?
I'm not going to get into that. I'm just saying he needs to focus on the issues that are important to the American people. I saw him do that effectively in both Davenport and Cedar Rapids. I think that's where the campaign needs to be. You got two choices, two major party choices. Hillary Clinton, who's been part of the D.C. establishment for a long time, her and her husband have gotten tremendously rich off of the taxpayers and off of the foreign contributors and Wall Street and all of that. You want more of that? Or do you want somebody that's going to restore American greatness, that's going to focus on working people and farmers and restore the American dream? And I think that with Donald Trump, we have a much better chance to get that done.
So don't you think that message is lost if we keep stepping in it like this and saying,
Well, that's why I think it needs to be very focused and disciplined. So, I've given my advice, and I've been through a few campaigns, and I understand there's a lot of people that are going to try to set traps for you and all those kinds of things. But I think you've got to be very disciplined and very careful. And I hold a press conference here every week, and I handle all of your questions. You may not be as tough as the national media.
saying that, the way you just phrased it, are you saying they set a trap for him?
Well, you know how these things go. You're going to get asked a lot of questions, and I think it's important that you, as the candidate, always try to bring the focus back to the things that are important to the American people, which are jobs, restoring fiscal responsibility, and protecting the safety of America. And this administration has ignored the real threat we have from ISIS and Islamic militant terrorists. And that's where the focus, I think, should be in terms of his campaign.
Should he put a tweet in?
Well, listen, I'm not going to try to tell Donald Trump or Chuck Grassley or anybody else. I have staff that handles that for me, and I think they've done a good job.
You said this is my advice to the Trump campaign. Are you actually advising the Trump campaign?
Well, I did get a chance to visit with him between the stops, and I certainly gave him some advice. And I think he's a good listener, and he certainly asks good questions. My son pointed out that he visited the ethanol plant at Gowrie. He asked really good questions, and he's taken a very positive stand, supportive renewable energy. And I think my advice was contrast that to Obama, who told us all the things we wanted to hear about renewable energy, and his administration's EPA has cut the renewable fuel standard and driven the price of corn below the cost of production. That's cost Iowa farmers income, and it's cost us jobs, and land values have dropped because of it. And that's an issue that is critical in this state. And that's the difference, I think, between Donald Trump and his willingness to tell it like it is, and Hillary Clinton will tell you whatever you want to hear, but he won't follow through and do it.
Governor, you plan to hold some meetings this week on water quality issues across the state. What is your goal for those?
Well, I have been doing this all summer, and I intend to continue to learn as much as I can about the different practices that our farmers are putting in place to protect water quality. I think I've been to about a dozen different counties. I'll be going to some more, and we'll be having a meeting, I think, in Storm Lake to talk about this. I want to see, we have a nutrient reduction strategy, and we also have a program to help municipalities deal with water treatment issues. But we need long-term reliable funding for that. I was really pleased with the work that was done in the House of Representatives last session, and we worked with them throughout the whole session. The Agriculture Committee passed a bill. It was improved by the Ways and Means Committee. It was improved further by the Appropriations Committee, and this was prioritizing existing revenue sources and provided between now and the year 2029 as much money as we had recommended in our bill. We supported it, and it passed the House of Representatives with a bipartisan vote of 65 votes. My disappointment was the Senate Democrats, Senator Branstad, didn't even bring it up for debate. Now, he said he was going to have his own plan, and we were anxious to try to work with him, but it never materialized, and he never even offered anything. Now, I look at the parallel. The year before, the House passed our bill that dealt with biochemical tax credits, and the Senate didn't even debate it. But this year, actually with the help of the late Ted Crosby and many others, we were able to get the Senate to debate it and pass the biochemical tax credit. And that's going to open up a whole new opportunity for new jobs that be from byproducts of making ethanol, replacing petroleum-based chemicals with bio-based chemicals. That's an exciting, positive development. I hope the same thing can happen with water quality, an issue that passed the House, but the Senate didn't debate. After the election's over and we have a Senate, and I'll work with who's ever in control, but I'm very optimistic that we could have a Republican majority, which would improve our chances of getting this done. And that's the reason why we're going to continue to work as we have on critical issues like education reform and property tax relief that took multiple sessions to get water quality approved. But I want to see us do something. I think what the House passed is a great start. I'd like to see us go even further and provide more long-term reliable source of funding for water quality.
You received some criticism at the start of the session about how this proposal was sort of just what line of communication you had with the different chambers. Is there something different you'll be doing?
That's why I'm working all summer and I'm learning as much as I can. I want to be as knowledgeable as I can be about what farmers are doing and what municipalities are doing and how we can try to bring people together. I intend to visit with farm groups. I intend to visit with school groups. I intend to visit with the community leaders and the municipalities. And we did that last year. And we worked on this all session. We also met with the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, and he participated in our announcement. We said from the beginning, this is a framework, and we're willing to accept changes and adjustments. What the House did was, I think, very commendable and passed with a strong bipartisan vote. So we want to build off of that and see if we can do that, and hopefully maybe even more in the future. And we want to work with both parties and both houses, and certainly we want to work with all the groups that have an interest in protecting the water quality of our state.
I understand that you have a sort of a revised approach to take 3/8 of the cent from the school infrastructure.
No. Let me explain what I told the conservative club in West Des Moines. I just acknowledged the fact that last year, and we met with school leaders and we met with agriculture groups and whatever, the school leaders made it really clear they didn't want to share any of that 1 cent sales tax, even though my proposal was they'd get the first 10 million in growth each year. But through 2029, they don't want to share any of it. Okay, I accept that. The House bill said, okay, fine, we'll just let that expire. But we'll deal with water quality. And the House passed bill, which got bipartisan support, dealt with water quality. And so I'm saying, let's build off of that. And then I've said, let's pass what the House passed through both houses of the legislature. But possibly beyond that, there's another issue, and that is the 3/8 cents that was approved as the constitutional amendment, saying the next time the sales tax is increased, 3/8 cents would go to natural resources and water quality. And so, and the sales tax grows so much a year, but by the year 2029, 5/8 will bring in about as much as 1 cent does now. So another possibility that I've suggested could be considered would be after 2029, and that expires, have a new 1 cent sales tax, which would basically fund the trust fund that the constitutional amendment envisioned and provide 5/8 for school infrastructure as well. So that's another idea that I think I would like people to look at and think, could we do what the House did, use existing resources, redirect that, and then beyond 2029, when that expires, have a new source of funding that could deal with both water quality and school infrastructure. So it's different than what I recommended last year, which was an extension of the existing. This would let that expire and then replace it with a new one.
The main Democratic objection last year was that you were in fact diverting school.
We're not diverting anything because they have no right to have this money beyond 2029. It expires. The legislation expires in 2029. So this is a totally new approach. And I did have some discussions with school administrators, and they have a different view beyond 2029 because they know they have no right to this money beyond that time. It will expire under present law.
Their concern was that the House wanted to divert money from
Well, the House plan basically redirects existing revenue. K through 12 gets most of the new growth in revenue in the state budget. And as you know, the Senate agreed with, and I actually recommended a higher level of supplemental state aid than the Senate and the House approved. Now, I understand why they approved a lower level, because most of the new money was going to K through 12, and the March revenue estimate came in 46 million below the December revenue estimate, so they had to abide by the law. And so I commend them in doing that, and I understand the situation.
I just want to talk real quick about Zika being in Florida now. What do you think needs to happen in Iowa?
Well, I don't think Iowa, I saw the map on television, and it's primarily in the southern states that it's a risk, but it's something we need to take seriously, and people that have gone to areas where the Zika virus and where the mosquitoes that have the Zika virus are present need to be concerned about it. Let's turn the lights back on. I don't know what happened here. Here we go. So
Has the department paid its bills?
Yes.
I think the state is current. We're current on our bills as far as I know. But yeah, we do need to take the Zika virus seriously. And I think they're working in states like Florida where they've had outbreaks. I know the governor and the state is taking this responsibility very seriously. Our Department of Public Health is keeping us informed, and we don't think that there's a direct threat from mosquitoes in Iowa today. There's other diseases that mosquitoes carry as well.
Governor, there was a situation in Giants recently where a
Yeah.
toddler and mother were found dead. The
Yeah.
father has been trying to advocate for changing Iowa's custody laws so that it doesn't always favor the mother, so that fathers can have a 50-50 right in custody battles. The father tried to pass legislation last year. Would you like to see something like that?
Well, it's a tragic situation when you have a 2-year-old healthy baby who is essentially killed by one of the parents. And I think we have to carefully look at the situation and the circumstances and see if there's any changes in the laws or procedures that might be able to help those situations. This is a unfortunate and tragic situation. And I certainly feel for the father and all of the family and the community for that matter. That's a terrible loss. And I think it is appropriate that we take a look at it and see if there are changes or improvements that can be made in the law. These are always difficult situations when you have a custody battle. And, the fact that they were never married is another factor, I guess going against the father. But I do think we need to try to make sure that the safety of the children should be the paramount and primary focus.
Back to Barbara's question, one of the reasons legislators were reluctant to embrace your water quality initiative last year is they felt as if it was sprung on them. Are you meeting with legislators as you make these tours around the state?
They're being in,
To try to include them in the discussion at the front end rather than springing it on the back?
well, first of all, we worked on this with legislators throughout the entire session, and we had dozens and dozens of meetings with them. And we worked with Lee Hine and the Agriculture Committee. They passed it. We worked with Tom Sands and the Ways and Means Committee. They improved it. We worked with Pat Grassley and the Ways and Means Committee. They improved it for, the Appropriations Committee, and they approved it further. And then it was passed by a bipartisan vote. So we worked with them throughout the session, and we're continuing to do that this summer. And I'm going out to see communities and to visit farms and learn as much as I can. This is a complex issue, and it's not simple, and it depends upon the type of soil you have. It depends upon the topography. It depends upon the farming practices, and there are different approaches that can be used that can help deal with it. And I've seen many of them, and I want to learn as much as I can about all of them. And I'm also encouraged about what I see in the Cedar Valley area, where the city of Cedar Rapids is working with that entire watershed on practices that can be helpful there. Also, you remember we announced a grant that Dubuque and Coralville and Storm Lake received, and also I think maybe 9 different watersheds that deal with both flood mitigation and water quality. So we want to do all we can to be as knowledgeable as possible, educate the public, work with legislators, work with all the different groups that have an interest in this, the League of Municipalities, the farmers, the people that are interested in water and soil conservation, and the general public. So this is all in preparation for trying to put something together that we think can build on what was accomplished in the House last year, and maybe hopefully goes beyond that as well.
Does it
Is it
sewer-
fair to wait until 2029 to address water quality?
No, we're doing,
Right? And it makes-
did you not watch the session last year? Did you not see what the House did? Do you not know what they did? No, they didn't wait to 2029. They had a plan that expires in 2029. So that's why what I'm saying is, let's build off what they did. Let's approve what the House of Representatives passed and get it through the Senate, and then see if we can do something beyond that that is even more long-term. So this doesn't wait till 2029. It starts right away. And we worked with them all session on this.
Eric, do you have the last question? Yeah, just to follow up on Kay's question, you mentioned the legislators you're working with. Are you working with or communicating in any way with any Senate leadership on this thing?
Well, first of all, we intend to work with them in preparation for the upcoming session. But we recognize that right now, most legislators are back very actively involved in their own campaigns. And so we respect and recognize that. But we are inviting legislators when I go out and do these water quality events, and I meet with farmers, like I'm going to the Hammett Farm in Harrison County today. So local legislators are invited to join us. And we've had a number of legislators that have joined us at these events.
Will there be any Democrats? All the legislators you named were Republicans.
Well, I can tell you that we've had Democrats that have attended our events as well. Yes. So You know, when I go out in the state and go to various areas of the state, I invite the local legislators to come. Sometimes Democrats choose not to, some do. Some choose to come, some choose not to, but it's their choice.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.